next game we're going to talk about is South Florida and Alabama. This was actually a really great game. Going into the fourth quarter, it was 14-13, and with 6 minutes and 54 seconds left, it was 21-16 Bama. I'll get into more to that to a second. One thing I really want to point out is USF is a better team than people realize, especially with Byron Brown. I was very interested. I thought Bama was going to blow them out. I mean, the final score makes it look like a blowout, which Kalen DeBoer was smart, because come time in November when people look back at that game, or people who didn't really pay attention, they'll see it as 42-16. Smart move right there. Almost covering, I think, actually at the end of it. It's like 28 points in the last 5 minutes or something. It's pretty funny. However, USF's D-line, incredible job. 6 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. They had a decent amount of pressure outside of that as well, making Milroe very uncomfortable. I know Alabama's offensive line isn't to full strength without Caden Proctor, but I'm not trying to shit on them for that. I'm saying props to USF. Good job there. It was incredible to see the effort, and I think a lot of people got to see how strong USF actually will be, and it's not really like the USF game last year where weather and a lot of stuff played into it and the weird quarterback situation. This was just a team that came prepared and ready to play, and they weren't scared of the moment, and you got to shout out their coach, Golish, I'm correct with his name for that. That's going to be a good program moving forward. He's the right guy to run it, and I liked what he said at the end of the game. There's no moral victories. I get it being a coach, but for them, I thought that was a great showing on a national stage, probably the most viewers they've ever had for one of their football games. Props to them. But like I said, it's 14-13 into the fourth quarter, 21-16 Bama. The one thing I'm always confused with is why schools, like when USF is playing Bama, why do these schools always kick field goals when they're playing better teams? I think it was 21-13 when USF kicked the field goal and they made it. I think they were inside the Bama 20s. Go for it on fourth down. Try to score. What do you have to lose by losing this game while it's being close? I think he said, don't want to go down 2 possessions. I'll have to go look at the film. But, I mean, it's one of those things, go for the touchdown, man. You are David Goliath full on here right now, and coaches always do it. You're playing Bama. Just because they haven't broken that crazy play yet, they only need one play to do it, and they did it with Ryan Williams. He's a freaking stud. Ryan Williams is so much fun to watch. Bama, next year, he's going to be crazy once he gets even more built up for college football. The dude is the real deal. Incredible football player. Jam Miller was awesome. Jalen Milroe is my Heisman pick. He's midseason form besides the fumbles. Obviously, you have the 3 fumbles, which were not ideal for them, but they threw style points on the end, like I said. But don't let the score fool you. USF, incredible showing. Bama, it can be better, but you got the win. You squished them at the end once they realized it was over. It was smart to get those style points at the end, but I want to give props to USF because they truly deserve it, and Bama, way to not absolutely choke it away, but the penalties were an issue. The turnovers were an issue, just really undisciplined play. I did tell my friends before this game even started, we were talking about Alabama, and I said, talent is still going to be there for Bama, but Bama beating themselves will likely become a thing more often now than it ever was, obviously post-Saban era, because Saban made sure everything was always perfect, and I'm not trying to squash Bama here. This is just one thing that probably will come back to normal, and that's kind of what we saw in the USF game. I was right. There was so many mistakes that you didn't see really in the Saban era, but I'm not trying to hate on Bama. I do think one thing is everyone's talking about the Wisconsin game next week. USF is a better football team than Wisconsin. I think Bama goes up there and just absolutely spanks Wisconsin. It will be interesting. The only way I see this is if Bama is somehow just insanely rattled in Madison, but I don't see Jalen Milroe being insanely rattled. I think he should be able to just have a field day on Wisconsin and put up numbers to help for his Heisman campaign. Man, dude, it could get ugly there. But for Bama fans who get down about it, USF is actually a pretty dang good team. Don't hang your head down from that, and y'all got that great win. I know it's stressful, but I know you're Bama fans, so everything's got to be perfect. But that USF team that you played is a really good football team.